That's really funny.
They're fighting.
Look at the baby she got.
That's not their baby.
That's rude.
So it's gonna be funny real quick.
Yeah, watch. No more.
It's gonna get really funny.
Yeah. It's good.
Oh no.
What just happened?
Oh,
Yes.
their bellows go along. See? You're gonna be funny. One little bear.
That was so funny.
Alright, good job, guys. So did you see what happened in that video?
Yeah.
Wasn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So, does anyone know what cause and effect is? Have you ever heard of those two words before?
I have heard it.
If you've heard of
in
it, have you? That's great. Okay, if you've heard of it, raise your hand. Wow, a lot of you have heard of it. Does anyone know what cause and effect are? Would anyone be able to explain what it is? Or does that we not know that yet? It's okay if you don't. If you do, raise your hand. Jayla?
Like the cause is something that causes the problem, like what makes the problem.
Jayla,
The
great job.
effect is like what is the bad thing about it.
That is a great job. So we are going to learn a little bit more. Jayla gave us a great introduction as to what cause and effect are. And we are going to learn just a little bit more about what it is, okay? Are you ready? So, a cause and effect. Just like Jayla was saying, cause is the why something happened. And the effect is the result of what happened. So, if we look at this picture here, we see it's storming at the pool. And if we know anything about pools, you can't swim when it's thunder and lightning outside, right? We have to get out. So, the cause is that it's storming. But the effect, why? What happens because it's storming at the pool? What does it say? Very good. So we can't swim because it's swimming, right? So, because effects always have causes, causes always lead the effects. We rarely see an effect. We really see a cause without an effect. Okay? All right, here we go. Next slide. Cause. The cause is the first thing that happens. The cause answers the question why. Does someone want to read the example for me? Raise your hand. Christian, you want to read it? All right, go ahead.
I had the flu,
Good job.
so I stayed home for school.
Good job. So she had the flu, so she couldn't go to school. Since she was sick, the cause was why she couldn't go to school. Now let's learn a little bit about the effect. The effect is the second thing that happens. The effect answers the question, what happened, or what was the result. Someone want to read this one? Honesty?
Tom was going too fast and fell off his bike.
Since he was going too fast, what happened?
He
Fell off his bike. Very good job. So, I have a few, oh, not yet. Cause and effect. So, you can use cause and effect every day. You guys you don't even know, you're making decisions that have cause and effect all the time. I listed some pictures here. So, look at this girl right here. She's tired. So, she might not wake up in time for school. What would happen if she didn't, what would be the effect if she didn't wake up?
She would be late.
Abigail? Very good job. She would be late for school. Here are these kids lining up for the bus. The effect. Where are they going to go?
School.
Are they going to go to school? They're going to be on time since they're lining up getting ready? All right. And this boy here,
He's thinking.
he's doing his homework. He's thinking. Very good job, Christian. What do you think is going to happen there?
He's going to get all right.
He's going to get a good grade. He's going to get the answers right. He's trying really hard. So cause and effect is something that you guys do all the time. You just don't even realize that it's really happening since it happens all the time. All right. So here are a few cause and effects. And I don't know if I did this right or not. I was trying to get so that you could drag them, but I was having difficulties with it. So it doesn't look that Abby did it correctly. So we're just going to look at them, and I want you to tell me if it's very good. So they're practicing really hard, aren't they? And so the effect is going to be, they did a great job. They all worked together, and they were able to win the trophy. Fantastic job, guys. All right, so now that we know a little bit about cause and effect, we are going to read a story. Have any of you read A Bad Case of the Stripes before? You have? Is this something you read in a different grade?
Yes.
I read this when I was in school. I've forgotten a little bit about it, but it's a really good book. So, if we, without knowing anything, if you just read the title, A Bad Case of the Stripes, does anyone have any idea what's going to happen?
No.
Anyone have any predictions on the cover or anything? Daniela?
She's going to get stripes.
Is she gonna? It looks like she's got some stripes going on, doesn't it? Anyone else have a different prediction?
I don't.
Allison. She's gonna look like her room. Oh my goodness. We're gonna have to see. All right.
I know one.
You want to say one, Christian? This is gonna be the last one, okay? Go ahead.
Her tongue is the same color as her face.
Do you think it is? Oh my goodness, it might possibly be. Honestly.
No, I know it is because I think my grandmother gave her.
Okay. Let's not give it away, okay? Good job. I think we all have maybe heard parts of this before, and that's okay. So we're going to read this. And while we're reading about it, I want you to keep cause and effect in the back of your head. Think about how this story might have to do with cause and effect, okay? So think about it. Now that we know what cause and effect is, we're going to read it. Are you ready? All right. Camilla Cream loved lima beans. Someone's going to be able to help her?
Yes.
Let's see, okay? At that moment, Mr. Cream heard a quiet little knock at the front door. He opened it, and there stood an old woman who was just as plump and sweet as a strawberry. "Excuse me," she said brightly, "but I think I can help." Do you think she can do it? She's not a doctor.
Yes. She's a grandmother.
Oh, I don't know.
I think she can help you. Me too.
She went into Camilla's room and looked around. "My goodness," she said with a shake of her head. "What we have here is a bad case of the stripes. One of the worst I've ever seen." She pulled a container of small green beans from her bag. "Here," she said. "These might do the trick." "Are those magic beans?" asked Miss Cream. "Oh my, no," replied the kind old woman. "There's no such thing. These are just plain old lima beans. I'll bet you'd like some, wouldn't you?" she asked Camilla. Camilla wanted a big helping plate full of lima beans, more than just about anything, but she was still afraid to admit it. "Yuck," she said, "no one likes lima beans, especially not me." "Oh dear," the old woman said sadly, "I guess I was wrong about you." She put the beans back in her bag and started towards the door. Camilla watched the old woman walk away. Those beans would taste so good, and being laughed at for eating them was nothing compared to what she'd been going through. She finally couldn't stand it. "Wait," she cried. "The truth is, I really love lima beans." "I thought so," said the old woman with a smile. She took out a handful of beans and popped them into Camilla's mouth. "Mmm," said Camilla. Do you think the beans are going to do the trick? Suddenly, the branches, feathers, and squiggly tails began to disappear. Then the whole room swirled around her. When it stopped, there stood Camilla. And everything was back to normal. "I'm cured," she shouted. "Yes," said the old woman. "I knew the real you was in there somewhere." She patted Camilla on the head. Then she went outside and vanished into the crowd. Camilla is back. Afterwards, Camilla wasn't quite the same. Some of the kids at school said she was weird, but she didn't care a bit. She ate all the lima beans she wanted, and she never had a touch of stripes again. That was a good story.
Yeah.
That was a really good one. And you guys had some great predictions. So I have a few questions for you. Why do you think Camilla Cream was afraid of what people thought of her for liking lima beans? Christian, you have an idea?
They would tell her that she's weird.
A lot of people don't. Raise your hand. Does anyone in here, raise your hand if you like lima beans. See, there's not very many. Lima beans are kind of a different food. So do you think she was concerned about fitting in with the rest of the people? Was that something that had to do with it? Anyone else have another idea? Jayla?
I think that she was afraid because she didn't really like getting laughed at.
Yeah.
And it hurt her feelings.
Perfect. She didn't want to have her feelings hurt. She wanted to be friends with everyone, so she just pretended like she didn't like lima beans like everyone else. Do you think the students in this story were bullying Camilla?
I know.
Christian? They were? Yeah? Anyone else have an idea? Yeah?
I think they were taking advantage of her.
They were taking advantage of her. That's a great answer. Why do you think that?
Because they kept telling her to change colors, and they wouldn't let her be.
I think you're right.
They're making her more embarrassed.
Right. So, one more question. What do you think the purpose of the story was? What was the author trying to tell us through this story, through the stripes? I'm we'll let someone else answer. Good job, though, Christian. So, did you have an idea? I forgot. It's okay. Abby?
That you should care what other people think.
Say it one more time. That was a perfect answer.
That you shouldn't care what other people think.
You have to be confident in who you are, right? Everyone's going to be a little bit different. And just because Camilla liked lima beans wasn't necessarily a bad thing, right? All right. So, I have passed out a cause and effect sheet. You should find this. Everyone go ahead and take one of these. And you don't have to write your name on it. But if you'll take one, if you wrote your name on it, it's completely fine. All right.
Is there one more? No.
All right, perfect. All right, friends, so what I want you to do is I want you to think back into the book, and we're going to come back and talk about this together, but I want you to take just a few minutes on your own, and I want you to think about what are some causes and effects in this story. You don't have to say them out loud, think about them, and then we're going to talk about them. What were some things that happened that because Camilla did something, something else happened? Okay? So if you can think of at least two and write them down, we're then going to talk about it together as a class, okay? So take a few moments in your head quietly, and then we'll go over it. Mhm. Something that happened and something happened because of it. Gustavo, you think of anything? Gavin? What happened when they were cause and effect? That's perfect. That's right. You have toilet paper? All right, friends, take a few more minutes, then we're going to talk about it as a class, okay? All right, raise your hand if you're ready. All right, we'll give you a couple more seconds and then we're going to say a few. It's okay if you haven't filled out the whole sheet. All right. Does someone have a cause and effect, one that goes with another one? Gavin, would you like to share?
She didn't want people to get, she didn't want people laughing at her. So she stopped taking vitamins.
That was good. So she didn't